Hello again. In continuation to my lectures, I here further discuss various factors that affects solubility of solute in solvent. So earlier also I discussed what is the meaning of solubility and define the solubility in context to qualitative as well as quantitative aspect, and also elaborated the physical nature of solute as well as the solvent. Now, in continuation with that very topic, that is the solubility, I here further discuss the various factors that are affects the solubility of solute in a solvent. So I here arrange all these factors serially, as you can see here, and these factors affects the solubility of a solute in a given solvent. So I here discuss each and every factor in detail one by one. Anyhow, let us look into, or very first let us look into what are these factors which affects the solubility of solute in a given solvent. So the very first factor that I mentioned here is the size of solute. This is the very first factor, that is the size of solute, which affects predominantly its solubility also. The next factor is the physical state of the solute. Physical state of the solute means in which physical state or in what physical state the solute is ultimately be present while we are performing, or while its dissolution or solubility is performed. So the physical state is anyhow it's solid, liquid or gas. So in which among these three, in which state finally the solute is present when it is dissolved in a solvent. Then the next one is the temperature. It is a very important factor. Then the pressure. Then the polarity. Polarity also affects the solubility of a solute or a given solute in a solvent, and it is also a very renowned factor which ultimately affects the solubility of a given solute anyhow. Then the pH. So pH also affects the solubility, and how ultimately the pH affects the solubility. I will elaborate this particular concept also, how this pH anyhow affects the solubility of a solubility of a solute in a the given solvent. And then after pH is the viscosity of the solvent. So viscosity also affects the viscosity of the solvent also affects the solubility of a solute. Then after this viscosity of solvent, the ratio of solute and solvent, or the solute solvent ratio, it also affects the solubility. Then stirring, the last one is the stirring. So anyhow, there are total of 9 factors are there which affects the solubility of a solute in a given solvent. And I turn by turn or one by one I elaborate as well as discuss the basic platform behind all these factors, which ultimately affects the solubility of solute in a solvent. So let us begin our journey of exploring the factors that affects solubility of a solute. So the very first factor is the size of solute. So let us look into how the size of solute affects the solubility. So generally, earlier also I discussed the solute means the substance which ultimately get dissolved in the solvent in order to produce a solution. So how this size of solute affects the solubility? So generally the solute can be present as a solid, preferably it is present as a solid, and it can also simultaneously be present as a liquid as well as gas. So anyhow, a solute can be present or it can be available in all the 3 physical state, that is the solid, liquid and gas. However, I here within this heading only restrict my discussion to the physical state, that is the solid state of solute. So anyhow, if the size of solute is big, or it is large in size, or it is big in size, so such solute which is large in size or it is big in size, it have a very small or less surface area. So I here represent the surface area as S dot A, which ultimately represents the surface area. So I correlate the size with the surface area as more big is the size or greater is the size, less is the surface area. And hence, less is the surface area means it is less soluble. Why a solute with less surface area is less soluble? This is because if a solute have less surface area, the net quantity of solvent which comes in contact with the solute is also less. So when the less amount of solute comes in contact with the solvent, or we can say like this also, when less amount of solvent comes in contact with the solute, the solubility or the net solubility of resultant solute solvent interaction is less. However, in another case, if the size of solute is get reduced, what I here mean reduce means if a a solid which is earlier is present in a large size, its size is gets reduced. So once its size get reduced, its overall net surface area get increased. And as its surface area gets increased, its solubility simultaneously get enhanced. And now again I here discuss or let you know why the solubility get increased. This is because when the more is the surface area of solute, there is a chance that more amount of solvent comes in contact with the solute and hence get it dissolved. So greater is the surface area, that means more is the amount of solvent which comes in contact with the solute and hence very well or easily it can dissolve it. So generally, as you know, we in order to reduce the size, we generally make use of an unit operation process that is known as size reduction, which is an important unit operation process which ultimately aims towards to reduce the size of a particle from larger particles to smaller particle. So this size reduction is a unit operation process which ultimately aims towards to reduce the size of a particle or a substance. So I here diagrammatically also explain how the size of a solute anyhow affects the solubility. So you can here see that there is a big block. This big block represents a solute, and once this particular big block which represent a solute is get break or it get crushed, it will be divided into or it will be subdivided into small particles or small blocks. And as you can see here, these small blocks have a very greater surface area compared to this particular large block, as it have a very possibility of solute solvent interaction is get increased in case of this small blocks compared to the large blocks due to the increase in surface area. And when anyhow this particular small blocks comes in contact with the solvent, they get easily be dissolved. And why they get easily be dissolved? This is because here the greater amount of solvent comes in contact with these small blocks which are ultimately be produced by crushing or breaking this large block, and hence this solubility gets increases, or these small blocks when comes in contact with a solvent, they can be easily get dissolved compared to the larger block in which when comes in contact with the solvent, because of its less size or because of its greater size or less surface area, this larger block finds or gets difficult to be get dissolved compared to the smaller blocks which are anyhow be produced by crushing or breaking these larger blocks. So the smaller blocks are very well be passed into the solvent compared to the larger block, and the reason behind this particular thing is the surface area. So how the size of a solute affects the solubility. So the basic principle behind, or the basic platform behind the size of solute and the solubility is, if a solute the size of solute is more, it's have a very less surface area, and hence it is difficult to get it solubilized. However, on the other hand, when a size of solute get reduced, it have a very good surface area, it have a very large surface area, and due to the large exposed surface area, that particular small size solute is very well or easily get solubilized. So let us discuss the next subheading under the factor affecting the solubility, that is the physical state of solute. So physically a solute can exist in solid, liquid as well as in gaseous form. So depending what type of solute we are dissolving, or what is the physical nature or the physical state of solute, which can be anyhow solid, liquid and gas, accordingly its solubility in a solvent gets affected. So in a general sense, or in a very general term, if I express the solubility of solid, liquid, or gas in a solvent whose itself status or whose itself physical state is liquid, so practically a solid, a solute which present in solid form will take some time, and the liquid will dissolve much better than solid in a liquid solvent, and gaseous practically dissolves a much more better in solvent which is having a liquid state. So this is, I'm discussing all these state of the solid in a general way. However, the under different circumstances their solubility gets varied. However, in a general sense, a gas dissolve practically more easier than liquid. A liquid dissolve a much more easier than solid. So, in all these three cases, I am here discussing these three cases, means these three physical state of the solute in solvent when the solvent is present in liquid state. So under that very circumstances, or under that very condition, in a liquid solvent, the solubility of solid solute, liquid solute, and the gas solute is practically be solubilized in the sequence what I mentioned here. That is, the gas dissolve much more well than a liquid, and the liquid dissolve more easily than solid, and the solid will dissolve a bit more difficult as compared to the liquid as well as the gas. So this is a general, or this particular pattern is depicts only a general sense. However, this particular pattern under different circumstances can vary also. So let us discuss the next factor, that is the temperature. So temperature plays a very important role in solubility, and hence it is a very key factor which affects the solubility of a given solute in a solvent. So in a general sense, or generally, with increase in temperature, solubility of a solute or a solvent for a given solute get increases. So it is generally true. Generally true means for most of the solute and most of the solvent in which a solute has to be the dissolve, with increase in temperature its solubility gets increases. I hope you people have heard or might have heard regarding the saturated and super saturated solutions, how the solubility of a solute will ultimately be increased by increasing the temperature, or how saturated and super saturated solutions are anyhow be formed, and what is the role of temperature in both the cases are. So in a general sense, as you can see here, with increase in temperature, the solubility of a solute in a given solvent also get increases. or we can also here say in another words that the solubility increases in proportional to temperature. So increase in temperature, or with increase in temperature the solubility also gets increases for most of the solute. However, the exceptional case here is the gas. So for a gas, with increase in temperature their solubility gets reduces. So with increase in temperature the solubility of gas among themselves as well as in water gets reduces. So I hope for exemplifying this particular situation, that is with increase in temperature the solubility of gas gets reduced among themselves also as well as in the water. So practically I can exemplify this particular situation by giving an example of removing the carbon dioxide from water by increasing its temperature. So I think you might have heard that if you want or if anyone wants to remove the carbon dioxide from the water, it is practically the water will be boiled, and or the temperature of the water will gets increases, and during this particular phenomenon or during this particular operation the carbon dioxide which is present in the water get easily be removed off by increasing the temperature, as in exceptionally in case of the gas, with increase in temperature the solubility of gas, that is the carbon dioxide in water, gets reduces. However, this particular phenomenon gets totally gets changed while in case of an organic solvent. So in organic solvent the solubility of gas gets increases with increase in temperature. So this is also an exceptional case here in case of gas, that with increase in temperature although its solubility gets reduces in the water which is a polar solvent. However, contrary to this particular situation, that is the solubility of gas in water at high temperature which gets reduces, in contrary to this particular thing, that with increase in temperature the solubility of gas gets increases in the organic solvent. So this is a very practical as well as the exceptional situation here, where the increase in temperature the solubility of gas in different solvents gets changes accordingly, and this is according to its solubility. So this is how temperature affects the solubility of a solute or a solvent anyhow, with increase in temperature, or how ultimately the temperature affects the solubility anyhow. So the fourth factor, that is the pressure. So how the pressure affects the solubility of a given solute in a solvent, I'm going to discuss that one. So pressure also plays a very crucial role in determining the solubility of gas rather than solid or a liquid solute. So if a solute which is present in solid or liquid form, the pressure generally have less or no effect. So any solute which is present in solid or liquid form, it have less or no effect anyhow. However, if a solute which present in gaseous form, the role of pressure gets dominated there itself. So you can also see here, I also mentioned that particular thing here also, that solid and liquid solute, or this means that the solute which is having a physical state either as a solid or as a liquid. So the solute which ultimately be present as a solid or liquid, the pressure has a less or generally the no effect. Although there are certain effect which are sometimes be negligible also. So in a general sense, the solid or liquid solutes have a very less effect, or their solubility can be affected very little by the pressure. However, the solubility of gas gets very well be affected by pressure, and as per general principle or as per general rule, with increase in pressure, the solubility of gas get increases, or in a more simpler way or more technically, we can state this particular thing alternatively as solubility of gas is directly proportional to the pressure. So this solubility of gas is accordingly to the pressure, and this particular thing was stated by the Henry, and this particular principle is hence be known as Henry's law. So as per this Henry's law, with increase in pressure, the solubility of gas also gets increases. So so this is an exceptional case when we compare the solubility of solid and liquid under a particular set of pressure with the solubility of gas. We can here rule out that, or we can here find out that the comparatively when a gas do gets affected by or the comparatively the solubility of gas does get affected. However, the solubility of solid and the liquid are generally not be get affected to that extent as compared to the gas. And anyhow, the solubility of gas get affected by the pressure. So this how the solubility of gas get affected by the pressure, this can be exemplified here by taking an example of carbonated drinks. So we all have know what ultimately the carbonated drinks are. So when we gets open the cap of the carbonated drink bottle, we generally find out that once the cap is removed or it gets loosened, the gas which is present or which is dissolved in the carbonated drink is gets quickly bubbled out. So we have generally hear the sound, his sound, or the sound ultimately which confirms us that the gas is removing from the bottle to the surrounding, as because once we are opening the cap or once the container is get open up, whatever the gas which is the solubilized or which is present in the solvent under the pressurized condition, due to the reduction in the pressure, once the cap is get opened up, the gas get quickly be removed from the bottle to the surrounding and hence produce a hiss like sound. So this is according to the Henry's principle or the Henry's law, that once the pressure is get reduces, its solubility in that particular solvent is also get reduces, and due to the reduction in pressure due to the reduction in the solubility on the basis of the pressure, the gas gets quickly be removed out of the container once the cap is get open up. So this is how the solubility, or this is how I exemplify here the solubility or pressure dependent solubility of gas in the solvent. So accordingly, as per this particular heading or subheading, pressure, the solubility of gas do affected by the pressure. However, the solubility of solid and the liquid solute are very less be get affected by the pressure. So let us further discuss the next subheading, that is the fifth one, polarity. So how this polarity ultimately be affects the solubility of solute in a given solvent. So in order to discuss this particular thing, that is the polarity as a factor which affects the solubility of a given solute in a solvent. So very first we have to know a very a very good universal principle which states that like dissolves the like. So this is a very prominent and dominating principle which anyhow establish the solubility of a solute in a solvent. So what ultimately this principle state, that in order to dissolve a solute in a solvent, the polarity of solute must be get match with the polarity of solvent, and unless until the polarity of solute gets matched with the polarity of solvent, its solubility can't be increases. So whenever the polarity of solute and solvent gets match up with each other, that particular solute, it gets very well be dissolved in the solvent. And when anyhow, if the solubility of that particular solute I'm sorry, the polarity of that particular solute when do not get, or when does not get match with the polarity of solvent, that particular solute cannot be anyhow be get dissolved in the solvent. So this principle states that in order to dissolve, or whenever a solute has to be dissolved in a solvent, the polarity of solute must be get match up with the polarity of solvent. So what ultimately the polarity here is, so the polarity is anyhow it depends upon the chemical nature of solute as well as the solvent, and how this polarity depends upon the chemical nature, or why I am saying that the polarity gets depends upon the chemical nature of the solute or a solvent. Although there are some other factors also on which the polarity of a solute or a solvent gets depend upon. However, I here discuss how the polarity it depends upon the chemical nature, and it's do depends upon the chemical nature of a solid or the solvent. I exemplify this particular thing here by taking an example of carbon. Any organic compound which contains the greater number of carbon atoms in its core structure, that particular extent or the degree of carbon atom that present in the in an organic compound also affects the polarity. For an example, greater the number of carbon chain is present in an organic compound, or greater the number of carbon atom present in an organic compound, more non-polar that compound is. And hence when the compound is more non-polar, then definitely its polarity gets reduces. So this is how ultimately this number of carbon atoms anyhow affects the polarity of a given solute or a solvent. And likewise, on other hand, if any a solute or a solvent if contains the polar functionality such as hydroxy group, if have a greater number of hydroxy group, Depending upon the presence of hydroxy group and their number or their extent, that particular organic compound, that particular solute or solvent is said to be a more polar, and hence it is less non-polar. So this is how the chemical nature or the chemical property will anyhow be affects this particular polarity, although there are some other factors also which affects the polarity equally. So this is in a general sense. More carbon atoms means the more non-polar the compound is, and more hydroxy group means more polar that particular solute or solvent is. So as per this particular principle, that is the like dissolves the like. So in order to dissolve, as I said earlier, in order to dissolve a solute in a solvent, both polarity of solute and solvent must be get match with each other. So I further exemplify this likes dissolves like philosophy by taking the two situations here, and in both the situation I here just want to clarify that how ultimately the polarity, or how this particular polarity get matched in order to have a better solubility. So I here discuss the two cases. The very first case where I here quoted here that there is a polar solute and a polar solvent. So when a polar solute and a polar solvent are present, we get a very good solubility. And likewise, if we have a non-polar solute as well as a non-polar solvent, so in such case also we have a very good solubility, as in both the cases the polarity of solute and the solvent gets match with each other, and hence we are getting a very good solubility in both the cases. However, if I take or if I combine a polar solute with a non-polar solvent, or non-polar solute with a polar solvent, so in such a case, when there is a contrary, or when there is an such type of mixing of non-polar solute with polar solvent, and a polar solute with a non-polar solvent, due to mismatch of their polarity, their solubility will get reduced to very much, because here the polarity of the solute as well as the solvent gets mismatch. So whenever we want to dissolve any solute in a solvent, we must be able to match the polarity of solute with the polarity of solvent, and unless until the polarity gets matched, the solubility or better solubility can't be achieved. So I also earlier also I discussed that likes dissolves the like phenomenon, or the like dissolves the like philosophy anyhow states, or it strongly recommends the matching of polarity of solute as well as the solvent with each other in order to have a very good solubility. So let us discuss the pH, that is the next factor which affects the solubility. So like other factor, the pH also plays important role in determining the solubility of a given solute in a solvent. Although the role of pH in determining the solubility, it gets limited, and it is reserved for certain chemical processes where a particular pH is required in order to dissolve a solute in a solvent. However, the pH is also an important factor which affects the solubility of a solute in a solvent. And if I exemplify this particular thing, that is the pH. It is the pH plays a very important role during the formulation or manufacturing of doses form, or production of certain drug substances, where the pH of solvent is essentially maintained in a particular range or in a definite pH in order to dissolve that particular drug in order to dissolve that particular drug in order to produce or formulate doses form. So although the pH do affects the solubility, however its role in determining the solubility is limited, and as I said, it is anyhow be restricted to certain chemicals itself. So the next factor is the viscosity of solvent. So viscosity of solvent is also an important factor, and it affects the solubility of a solute in a solvent. So generally, or in a general sense, more viscous the solvent is, its solubilizing power its do gets reduces. So more viscous a solvent, its solubility do gets reduces anyhow, and contrary, or when a solvent is less viscous, its solubilizing power is gets increases. So this is how the viscosity of a solvent will get affects the solubility of a solute. So I here again I'm exemplifying that particular thing, that a viscous solvent have a very less solubilizing power compared to the less viscous solvent which is having a very good solubility. So the viscosity of a solvent can be reduced by exposing the solvent to temperature, or by exposing the solvent to a heat, which ultimately be helpful in reducing the viscosity and hence increasing the solubility. So depending upon the nature of solvent, this particular principle can be used. However, in a general sense, the solubility of solvent is do get affected by the viscosity of solvent. So let us discuss the next factor under the heading factor affecting the solubility, that is the eighth factor, that is the ratio of solute and solvent. So how the ratio of solute and solvent ultimately affects the solubility. So in a general sense, in order to produce a solution, practically the solute must be present in a small amount compared to the solvent. So whenever we want to produce a solution, we have the net quantity of solute must be comparatively must be less as compared to the solvent. So this is because more the solvent is there, the solute can easily be get distributed in the solvent, and it gets easily be gets solubilized. So practically, in order to produce a better solution, or in order to have achieve a better solubility, the net quantity of solute must be comparatively less than the solvent. So so practically, as I discuss, when we are comparing the ratio of solute and solvent in a solution, or in order to achieve a better solubility, the solute must be present in a small quantity compared to the solvent, and once this particular case is there, the solubility definitely is for that particular solute must be, or that definitely is practically be higher. And contrary, in another case where the ratio of solute and solvent practically for the quantity of solute is comparatively greater than the net quantity of solvent. So in such a case where the solute present in large quantity compared to the solvent, so as the solute is present in a higher amount, so it is very difficult to distribute that particular solute in the solvent, because the solvent will provide as a matrix, or the solvent will ultimately be act as a matrix or a medium in which the solute gets dissolved. So in such a case where the net quantity of solute is more than the net quantity of solvent, so here the solubility gets reduces tremendously, or we can say here that the here in such a case the solubility not only get reduces, but the solubility of that particular solute, or that particular solute which present in a large amount is in a small quantity of solvent will also be a negligible or the nil. So the ratio of solute and solvent do affects the solubility, and in order to have a better solubility of that particular solvent, or in order to have a better solubility of a solute in a solvent, we must have a definite or a optimum ratio of solute and solvent anyhow. So which ultimately be I here depicted here as if the solute is less and the solvent is more, we have a very good solubility. And in another case, if the solute is present in a more quantity and the solvent is present in a less quantity, then the solubility do get reduced. So this is how the ratio of solute and solvent anyhow be affects the solubility. So let us discuss the next and the last factor, that is the stirring. If I speak about the stirring, so stirring is nothing but it is a process of agitation. So stirring generally stirring in a general sense do not have any direct effect on the solubility. So it seems to be something much irrelevant if I say that the stirring is having no direct effect on solubility. Anyhow, the stirring do promotes the solubility. It speed up the process of solubility, because if I exemplify here that if I dissolve or put salt in a water, and if I won't stir that particular content, that is the salt present in water, after some time, if I do not even disturb that particular content in which the salt is present in the water, after some time that salt itself will get dissolved. However, if I stir, that I anyhow promote the passing of salt in the water. That is, I am just speeding up the process by stirring. So stirring indirectly it promotes the solubility, or I here say that stirring will speed up the solubility of a given solute in a solvent. So anyhow, however, this stirring is a very important factor which ultimately affects the solubility. So industrially also we have seen, or industry also we have a very large stirrers are there which ultimately we promotes not only the mixing, but they also promotes the solubilization of solute in a solvent, or the solubilization of a particular chemical compound or a particular drug substance in a in a solvent, or in a metric system, that is in a medium. So how this particular stirring will help? This stirring will anyhow be help in distributing. It speed up the distribution process. It speed up the distribution of solute in a solvent, and once the solute gets distributed in the solvent, there is if there is any saturation which anyhow be exist around the side of or around the solute, that particular saturation or that particular boundary, it gets breaked up, and due to this breakup in the saturation boundary, the more and more amount of solid will anyhow be get passes into the solution. So this stirring will anyhow be helps not only in promoting the solubility, but it also helps up in minimizing or reducing the saturation boundary which anyhow be produced around a solute. So this is how this particular stirring will helps in dissolving a solute in a solvent, and how this is how stirring will ultimately be helps, or it has act as a factor which anyhow be affects the solubility of a solute in a solvent. So anyhow, I discussed here all the factors which I stated earlier in my video, or during the starting of my video. So I here discussed all the 9 factors which anyhow be affects the solubility of a given solute in a solvent. So this is how these all factors will affect the solubility of a solute in a solvent, in a given solvent.